What is going on, everyone? The Houston Texans are back in control of this draft, with Bryce Young and the Carolina Panthers pretty much being a marriage at this point. All eyes look to the Houston Texans in that number 2 selection, and many draft boards can change by what the Houston Texans do at 2. We're going to discuss all the possible outcomes. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the 713 Houston Sportcast. I drop daily Texans content, so follow me on Twitter at 713HSP. Keep on coming back for more vids. It is going to get exciting here in H-Town. If you are going to the official Cap Summit tomorrow in downtown Houston, I will be there. I would try to get a couple fitteds, maybe 3 or 4. If you are going to the Houston Texans draft party, me and the lead will be there. Let's get a beer. Let's catch a vibe. Now, the options that the Houston Texans can do with the number 2 pick, well, there are many. And the local media, right, shout out to them, Sports Radio 610, Sports Talk 790. They have been doing a great job of trying to get inside of the mind of Nick Caserio. What are the Houston Texans going to do, right? That's why we are hearing a different player every single day. It is CJ Stroud one day, it is Will Levis one day, it is Anthony Richardson, then it's Will Anderson Jr., then it's Tyree Wilson over Will Anderson Jr., and it just goes to show that Nick Caserio, if he doesn't want information to get out, it won't, right? All the rumors about us not being happy with CJ Stroud, us not even selecting a quarterback at 2, that is not coming from the Houston Texans camp, right? Kind of like last year's draft where no one knew what Nick Caserio was going to do up until 2 minutes right before the selection. So shout out to the Houston Texans for not overplaying their hand like the Carolina Panthers, right? At this point, it is clear Bryce Young is the QB off the board. Now, at pick 2, so many options the Houston Texans can create, right? The first one, just draft CJ Stroud. I was watching Steve Smith Sr.'s podcast with Jesse Palmer, and pretty much said that if you have Bryce Young as your 1A quarterback, CJ Stroud better be 1B, and they could be interchanged. I was just watching his game against Georgia, and it kind of made me want CJ Stroud here as a Houston Texans. All the narratives about him not being big time, not being able, to produce in big games. The Georgia defensive line was consistently in that backfield. You saw him do so much of the things that Bryce Young gets praised for. That was create inside of the pocket. That was escape the pass. That was fill the rush and make plays. And CJ Stroud absolutely did that in one of the biggest games of his young career. I think CJ Stroud would do great here for the Houston Texans, right? We heard Jackson Smith and Jigba talk on the Von cast and say, hey, the Houston Texans at 12 will be a perfect spot to me so I could play with CJ Stroud. Right? And with drafting CJ Stroud, what that does is that eliminates the Colts, the Titans, or whoever team to potentially trade up, right? We are hearing that so many teams are liking CJ Stroud and Will Levis that they are willing to trade up to 2 or 3 to go ahead and get their QB. When you're talking about trading within the division, Nick Caserio said, I don't understand why that is frowned upon, right? We saw a NFL insider had the Houston Texans trading with the Indianapolis Colts to let them select CJ Stroud. And then you saw the Tennessee Titans trade up to take AR-15. So a lot of trade scenarios that can happen, but just by drafting CJ Stroud and getting your franchise quarterback, you eliminate that right out the gate. What I'm trying to say with this video is I think the Houston Texans should draft CJ Stroud. I think it's clear that he is the number 2 quarterback for this Houston Texans team. And if so many other squads are willing to jump on this guy, if you pass on him, well, it kind of says something, right? Someone is obviously trying to diminish the name of CJ Stroud. When these S2 tests came out and, it showed that he had that he scored in the 18th percentile, one of the lowest of all the quarterbacks, right? Where is this news coming from? I don't think the Houston Texans are buying into the outside noise. Nick Caserio said in his podcast that, not in his podcast, but when he was talking to the Houston Texans that, the S2 test is not the only thing that they use to evaluate a quarterback. Ladies and gentlemen, so much stuff can happen with that number 2 pick. if the Houston Texans don't take CJ Stroud, it is going to be an absolutely crazy day. You guys let me know what you think. As always, go Texans. You guys have a very blessed day.